Hello and welcome to my garden. If you don't know me, my name is Kayla and I maintain a small backyard vegetable garden here at my home in a suburb of Dallas, Texas. It's easy to see these huge multi-acre homesteads here on YouTube and feel like you need a ton of space to start gardening, but I have limited space here in my backyard that I also share with my two dogs who need plenty of grassy space to play fetch. So this morning I'm going to show you how I've set up my 365 square foot garden and what I have growing right now at the beginning of August. For any plants that I've started from seed, I'll link those varieties down in the description box below. These are my true Thai chilies from Renee's garden. The one on the right is the Full Moon variety, which is an orange medium hot pepper, and then the one on the left is the Vesuvius variety, which is a red hot pepper that will be really good in stir fries. Now these are on the east side of my garden, which means they're going to get the hot afternoon sun coming from the west, which is why they're looking a bit sad right now. Every day for the past 2 weeks has been over 100 degrees, so really the goal with everything in the garden right now is to just keep it alive until September, when it will start to get a bit cooler outside. This is my Mad Hatter pepper from Johnny's Seeds. These are a moderately sweet pepper, kind of similar to the snacking peppers you would get at the grocery store. I chose to grow these because they've got this really goofy shape, and I enjoy goofy vegetables. But for every pepper I started from seed this year, I transplanted at least 2 into the garden, and in every case, one is doing significantly better than the other. I'll show you my other Mad Hatter over here by the small raised bed, and as you can see, it's much smaller than the other and clearly struggling a little bit, but I haven't been able to quite figure out why. But anyways, these are great peppers. Definitely recommend growing them in your garden. In this long raised bed, I have a couple different things. Starting on the left, hidden beneath the gomphrena, I have my watermelon. This is one that I bought from the garden center and I forgot the variety, so that one is going to be a surprise. It started to take over the garden though, so I definitely have some pruning I need to do. Next is the purple gomphrena, which is doing great even in this Texas heat. I'm really surprised at how well this is performing, so I'm definitely going to be planting more of it next year. Then we get to the okra. I'm currently growing 2 varieties and I have a total of 6 plants in this bed. On the left is the Clemson Spineless 80 and I have 4 of those, and then on the right I have 2 red burgundy plants. Both of these are from Botanical Interests. The Clemson Spineless are producing like crazy. I harvest anywhere from 5 to 10 pods a day from those plants. The red burgundy are just starting to produce, but I planted those a bit later in the season, so I'm expecting those to take off soon. This is the first time I've grown okra, but these are really easy to freeze, so I'm happy I'm growing so much. This front raised bed is my tomato bed this season, so I currently have all my fall tomato transplants in here. Right now I have 6 plants, and these are the ones that I bought from Bobby's Best Starts here in Dallas. So those varieties are Lemon Boy, Super Sweet 100, Speckled Roman, Juliet, Chocolate Cherry, and then there's one more Super Sweet 100 plant that I grew from seed. These are all growing really nicely. I've protected the entire bed with shade cloth, so they are shielded from the direct afternoon sun, and that seems to be helping a lot. On the left and right sides, I have my favorite flower to grow in the garden, which is marigolds. These are the lemon and tangerine gem varieties, and these are doing great. In the middle of this bed, I have 4 Emerald Towers basil plants, which is by far my favorite variety of basil. It's a very compact plant and grows in a tall tower formation, as you can see, and it has not bolted even with the past 2 weeks of 100-degree temperatures, so I am super impressed by this variety, and I will grow it every year. This is my serrano pepper. You can see it's struggling a little bit, but that's just because it's not protected by any shade cloth. I've gotten a few peppers from it already, but like I mentioned before, the goal is just to get these to survive until it cools down. I've got a couple things going on in this back raised bed. On the far left is one of my pequeño peppers. These are a very small and tangy pepper that I think will be really fun to pickle. I've got a small marigold that I just transplanted, and then I have a couple varieties of cucumber. On the far left is a burpless hybrid that I picked up from the garden center. In the middle is a homemade pickles cucumber, which is one of my favorites for pickling. And then new to me this year, I grew lemon cucumbers, which are small, spherical cucumbers that have a mildly sweet taste. These have been really great in salads, and I'll probably grow them again next year. All of these cucumbers are on their last leg, so I'll probably be removing them this week to replace with pumpkins. These are my Roundup Hungry peppers. This is another example of one pepper doing better than the other. Both of these peppers, the one in the pot and the one in the raised bed, are the same variety planted at the same time, and clearly one has taken off while the other is still pretty small. These peppers are great though. They're also known as a pimento cheese pepper. They're really thick-walled and sweet. They're getting a bit of sun scald though, so I think I'm going to set up a shade cloth on this back bed this week. In this small white pot, I have a couple of Crispidia flowers. I love these flowers. I think they're so fun. They dry really nicely too, and I use them as dried flower decorations inside my home. In the back of the rightmost raised bed and this pot back here, I have 4 habanada peppers from row 7 seeds. 2 of these plants I started early in the spring, and then the smaller ones I just transplanted. These are supposed to be like a habanero pepper without the heat, which I think is interesting, and I have a few that are just about to ripen, so I'll get to try them pretty soon. In the middle of this raised bed, I have tomatoes and eggplants, all of which I started from seed. The tomato varieties are Jelly Bean, Sun Gold, Golden Jubilee, and Sunrise Bumblebee. Those are the last of my fall tomatoes, so those were all recently transplanted. The cherry tomatoes usually do better in the fall rather than the big slicing tomatoes. And then the varieties of eggplant are Long Purple, which I started early in the spring, and it's still doing great and producing a lot of eggplant. And then on the right side, I have a Black Beauty, which I started a little later. This is my first year growing eggplant, and I found a good way to freeze it, so I'm really enjoying everything I'm getting from these plants. And then lastly, at the front of the bed, I have the stars of the garden, which are these 2 massive sunflowers. These are the Evening Sun variety from Botanical Interests. I love these sunflowers, the bees love these sunflowers, and they are so pretty during sunrise and sunset. Up here at the front of the garden, I have a pot of zinnias. I believe these are the Profusion Red Yellow Bicolor variety. I really love how colorful these are. And then next to that, I have 2 more pequeño peppers. These are the ones I want to pickle. One pepper is red and the other is yellow. Along the fence here, I have an improved Meyer lemon tree on the right. I can see I need to do some pruning on the bottom branches. This had a bit of a setback earlier in the season when we had a large hailstorm come through, which damaged the entire garden, but it seems to be bouncing back well. And then on the left, I have my blackberry. I need to reattach the trellis that goes behind it and move that when I set up all the drip irrigation, but it has started putting out new primocanes, which will fruit next year. Here I have my herb garden. There's not a lot in here right now since not many herbs can withstand the temperatures we've had recently, but I do have some speedy rosemary, which has not been very speedy to grow, some French thyme in the middle, and then 1 more marigold on the far right. Lastly, over here in these pots, I have 2 sweet potato vines that I was given by my mother-in-law. These were water propagated, and then I needed to transfer them to soil while it's very hot outside, so I've been trying to protect these as much as I possibly can with shade and by placing them in the western part of my garden. And they seem to be hanging in there for now, but we'll see. And that's everything I have growing right now. There's a lot of little things I need to do around the garden, so maybe I'll make a video showing all of my garden chores. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching.